Bonjour, Madame la...
A very good morning, Madam President, distinguished members of the Council. I would like to thank you for the opportunity that I have today to brief you on the situation in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and in particular the latest developments relating to the electoral process which is ongoing in this country. As I have already reported to the Council, while the preparations are ongoing with a view to the holding of the presidential and legislative elections at a national and provincial level, tangible progress has been made when it comes to respecting the critical stages in the electoral calendar of the Independent National Electoral Commission, CENI. All political parties and political groups, the majorité présidentielle and the opposition, have submitted candidates for the 3 votes within the timetable foreseen by the calendar, which is an important stage on the path towards the holding of elections on the 23rd of December next. This phase of the registration of candidates for the presidential and legislative elections has been marked by several events which I would like to underline. First and foremost, President Kabila respected his commitment not to be a candidate for a third mandate. Emmanuel Ramazani Shadari was designated as the only candidate of the majorité présidentielle under the slogan of the Common Front for Congo. Secondly, the chair of the platform Together for Change, Moise Katumbi, was not able to submit his candidacy as he desired, as he was not able to go back to the DRC before the deadline of the 8th of August. Various reactions were heard given what happened with regard to asking the leaders of the opposition and the CENCO, the Episcopal Conference of Congo, to ask for him to be a candidate. Thirdly, according to the provisional list published by CENI on the 24th of August, 6 of the 25 candidates for the presidential elections were disqualified for various reasons, including the loss of nationality of origin, conflicts of interest, and a conviction for witness tampering. This is Senator Jean-Pierre Bemba, 3 former prime ministers, Adolphe Musito, Antoine Gizenga, and Sami Badibanga, as well as Jean-Paul Moka and Marie-José Ifoku. Finally, I would like to note that in spite of the criteria that were seen to be more constrictive within the revised electoral law, nevertheless, a high number of candidates was registered. Indeed, according to the definitive list published by CENI, 19,640 candidates were registered for the provincial elections, while the provisional lists show 19 candidates for the presidential elections and 15,222 candidates for the 15,000 out of the 15,505 for the legislative elections. The proportion of women candidates has not changed since 2011. It remains roughly 12% of the total, that is to say 2,318 for the provincial elections, 1,784 for the national elections, and none for the presidential elections, after the fact that the only woman candidate was deemed to be unable to stand by CENI. Pursuant to its mandate, MONUSCO continues to provide technical assistance to CENI for the holding of the elections. The mission is also ready to provide logistical support to the process if CENI were to request the same. as this has been reported to the Council during my previous briefings, CENI and the Congolese authorities have indicated on several occasions that such logistical support would not be requested and that the Democratic Republic of the Congo wished to organize elections without external support, be it logistic or financial. Madam President, in spite of the progress made and the assurances of the government and CENI with regard to the holding of elections on the 23rd of December, the forthcoming period will now be marked by intensive political consultations. The publication of the provisional list of candidates to the presidential and legislative elections has led to some questions being raised within the political class in the DRC and DRC society. The CENI was accused of having gone beyond its remit by excluding candidates on the basis of interpretations of the electoral law. And this is alleged to be the exclusive competence of the Constitutional Court and not CENI. There are disputes underway, and appeals are being lodged, and it is foreseen that the definitive lists of the candidates will be published on the 19th of September after the appeals have been heard by the Constitutional Court. The lack of consensus on the use of voting machines and the fact that the definitive list of the electoral registry has not been published are also two subjects of discord between the key stakeholders. I can only encourage these parties to join the constructive approach which they had during the period in which candidacies were lodged, so as to continue dialogue on these issues and to iron out any divergences or differences of opinion. I, of course, remain determined to continue my mission of good offices so as to find solutions which will make it possible to bring about a climate of confidence which is necessary for the holding of peaceful and inclusive elections.
Perceived credibility of the electoral process remain a key concern. The ongoing review and contestation process, in particular of presidential candidates, by the Constitutional Court will be key to the legitimacy of the electoral process going forward. A lack of confidence or a perceived lack of credibility in the CENI or in the decisions of the Constitutional Court would only serve to heighten tensions in this process. Any impression that the CENI may have gone beyond its remit in the interpretation of the electoral law in determining the eligibility of candidates to stand in the elections would only undermine confidence in the process as a whole. It is hoped that the decisions of the Constitutional Court will help to resolve any ambiguities and instill confidence. The scrupulous applicability of the Constitution and electoral law is therefore key to moving forward. The more meaningful inclusion of women in the electoral process is a priority if the spirit of Resolution 1325 is to find meaning in the DRC's current political context, and if women are to play the role in the newly elected government and legislators, which Resolution 1325 foresees. In this regard, supporting women candidates who will run in the elections and ensuring that women can vote in a free and secure manner on election day is key. Continued instances of targeted repression and intimidation of political activists and human rights defenders in certain provinces, as well as other restrictions on political space, do not bring confidence. Therefore, I continue to call for the lifting of the general ban on public demonstrations and upholding the freedom of expression and peaceful assembly which are crucial to making meaningful progress as the holding of elections draws nearer. Madam President, as the holding of elections approaches, the deteriorating security situation in the eastern DRC is also of concern. The activities of armed groups, Mai and militia, have the potential to impact both on the final preparations of the elections and on the election day itself. While assuring the security of the elections remains the primary responsibility of the government, MONUSCO will remain fully engaged in all areas of its operation to support the DRC authorities in preventing and mitigating the activities of such groups. Madam President, with less than 4 months to go now before the holding of elections, it is clear that the required levels of confidence and consensus around key issues still need to be built. It is also imperative that respect for fundamental rights and freedom is assured throughout the territory of the DRC in a consistent manner, so that all Congolese citizens can participate freely and fairly in all stages of the electoral process moving forward. A failure to allow for political engagement and participation as foreseen by the Congolese constitution could jeopardize the peaceful nature and the credibility of these polls.
It is in this context, Madam President, that I reiterate my appeal to all stakeholders, especially the Congolese authorities, to ensure that the elections of the 23rd of December are credible and peaceful, so as to enable the first peaceful transfer of power in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, which constitutes an essential stage on the path to stability and development of the country. I would like to take this opportunity to conclude by reiterating that MONUSCO is ready and remains available to provide, if it is needed, any necessary support for these elections. Thank you for your attention.